It's just that no one can top Omar right now. Like,
Last time Phil kept saying marker point, and Chris didn't know
Yeah,
until the
I
third
listened
time.
to the.
Yeah.
That was
to
pretty
the
funny.
end.
That was really funny.
Just so you know, Omar, we're probably gonna keep asking you for updates every week now.
That's very tenacious.
You brought that.
Very tenacious.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
It'd be a lot of pressure too.
that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Topic 1: censorship. So this is something that we were talking about a little bit in last week's episode. Which I explained to you guys while you guys were yelling at me because you're like save it for next week, right? But
Yes.
YouTube,
Uh-huh.
right? Banning content, misinformed content, things that aren't true, conspiracy theories, your thoughts, right? Because you guys seen those videos, right? Like, here's a plate. Look, the water stays on like the ocean and the earth. It's like, oh my gosh.
I haven't actually seen that one.
Really? He gets a plate and he goes, look, here's the tennis ball. I'm going to pour water. Look, see how the water comes off the ball? Right? So if the earth is round, there would be no water. Right?
Is this like a kid or like a grown adult?
Like a teenager.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
a teenager. And then he gets a plate and he goes, now look at this. Water. Look. See, these are our oceans.
That's
I'm
pretty
like,
funny.
if this guy is
He was
joking,
trolling,
this
right?
guy,
He was trolling.
right? If he's joking,
I
it's
think
like,
he was.
okay, he's pretty convincing. But no, there are serious people that really think.
But trolling
it's
is
true.
not fake news. It's just like
You just
like
trying to get a
mocking
rise out of
news.
Yeah.
people.
But
Yeah.
my opinion is, even if he was not joking,
Uh.
why do you need to remove his content?
yeah.
I think the internet should be open field. That's my opinion. I'm not for censorship.
Well, okay. So before we delve further into this topic, are we going to talk about music censorship?
No, we're not
No.
talking about music. We're talking about like
Because I don't think they're the same type of
I'm
censorship.
okay talking about music.
I just
that's
I,
a different thing though.
so I don't at least in my opinion, I haven't really sat down and like really thought about it, but music censorship to me is like that really reflects upon your freedom of speech, your like your expressed desire, and especially during that time when the music censorship was really a hot topic. It was because it was like gangster rap, like people talking about violence and things that were actually happening, right?
There's been many times where music censorship was in the news. Like there was this whole thing in the 80s too.
Yeah, well, I guess the one that I'm familiar with.
So this topic was originated by you, right?
Right.
So, but it was not about music. That's not.
I know, right?
Okay.
So I'm getting to my point is that I think that's okay, right? The music censorship, I think, right? That's really violating that freedom of speech. But the issue with this censorship on the internet, social media, right, is that it's damaging, right? If you put out enough false information, people will start to believe it. That's the problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like it's one thing if we look at this video of flat Earth or whatever, right? But now if this goes into 2 million, 3 million little kids or something, right? Then you start to get a problem, right?
But there's just as much true information, factual information along with it. And I just think it's very dangerous to get into the business of censoring people because somebody has to make that decision. And we all are
right
influenced. We all have influences. And so it's not going to be it's going to be an individual making that decision at the end of the day. Even if it's like a group of people, there's going to be influences in there. So that's why I think it's very dangerous because what you think is maybe out of line, and I'm going all over the place here, but my last point is we have found in the past some conspiracy to be true. Not all conspiracies are false.
Okay, but there are certain things that you can say are definitively not true.
But if you
right?
open the door,
Right. Okay.
to-
So here.
Facts exist though. Like there are things that are true and are provable.
Yes.
Sure.
and there's some of those things that are being discussed as conspiracy theories. Excuse me, conspiracy theories, but are factually proven.
Right. And that are actually
that can be
harming
dangerous.
us. Exactly.
too.
That's the thing,
Yep.
right?
That's
It's
not-
It's like I don't know how you guys
We-
Hold
like
on.
flat earthers, right?
Right.
We have proof that the Earth is not flat,
Sure.
and it's not like there's opinion really involved in it. Like,
Right.
science doesn't care. What is that Neil deGrasse Tyson quote? Science doesn't care what your opinion is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're able to prove that the Earth is not flat.
and
so, like,
So
and
those
with
things
people
like we already
talking about-
know.
yeah.
But there's things that it's a very like
Correct.
thin.
what do you think about
line.
that?
I think because you can't really separate that. You can't say, okay, when it's like flat Earth, I can censor that.
Yeah.
But these other conspiracies, oh, we're not gonna censor that.
But that's
You-
what I'm
you-
saying. There is a difference, and you can separate them.
here's
I don't
here's
think you
another
can.
example. So
I don't think you
here's the
can.
thing, Phil, with flat Earth.
I'm saying there is.
Hold on, Chris. Hold on. But
Sorry.
I don't.
well,
I don't think so because maybe not in this example, but a lot of times, even what we thought were facts turn out not to be facts. Science does change too, you know. And then let's just say we put science on the side. Let's say it's politics. We have government that say this is what it is. Look at the pictures of these weapons of mass destruction. How can you argue they're facts?
Yeah.
And then we find out years later, oh, it's not there. See what I'm saying? So it's very difficult to dissect, like, okay, for this one, we're going to do it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a person that's going to make that decision.
No, there's a
And
lot
I'm
of
not
things
saying
that-
it's not difficult. I'm just saying they are different things.
so
There's a
ho-
lot of
let-
things
yeah,
that can't
but-
be proven by facts, and there's things on like ethics. It's more about like your opinion on it, so you're not proving it out by facts. So there's a grouping of. We're talking about YouTube. Like if we go back to
Yeah.
the general topic,
Right.
it's like there are things that you can prove by facts. There's scientific things you can prove by facts, but there's so many other topics like morality and ethics that you can't prove by facts.
Right.
So how do you censor that?
Correct.
I don't think those will be censored though.
But who makes that
But
decision?
who makes that decision?
So, okay.
Yeah.
So here, first of all, I want to say that I will agree, or I will concede that there could be a better solution to this, right? And something that I thought about was maybe like a credential system in social media, right? So it's like if you're looking through Instagram or Facebook, something that indicates, hey, these guys are credible. These guys have, they're not providing misinformation, right? But the thing is,
No,
no, why? You don't think that would work?
that's not going to accomplish what you want to accomplish,
Why?
because then you'll have what we have in the media right now, meaning that you'll still have people who watch Fox News because it gives them the
Yeah.
type of information that they want, and then same thing with MSNBC on the other side. You'll have the same thing,
Right, so
where people
what
who
I'm
go
thinking,
to that channel
what
that
I'm-
caters the information
But
towards what they want
I'm thinking though
will continue
is,
to upvote those.
but what I'm thinking is that the credible source would have to be from a bigger, like it would have to be it's like
something
think
independent?
about something independent. So
Yeah.
think about like our credit scores, right? Those are done by 3 bureaus that are unbiased. Well, they're supposed to be unbiased, right? They just take factual information. They go, oh, this is we give you a score. So if there was a bureau that like a 3 bureaus that somehow filters these news or whatever, and they go, oh, this is factually correct. Now they get a credible score of 900 or something.
At the end of the
right?
day,
So okay, so that the only thing that would defer is that now it's like, oh, like they're not. Look, I can understand that you can take what's factual and misrepresent it, but I mean, look at credit scores. There's so many things that factor into that. So I feel like there could be some sort of
it's different.
smart way to kind of
It's different.
do that, right? But
We're
It's
still
different.
focusing on things that can be proven by fact. Like
Right.
that's that. Yes, there's a lot of things that you can just prove by fact. There's this given way. It's
but
And-
people
and I
are-
would-
or
so it's
and
like
I would even argue that. Like I hear what you're saying, and I
Yeah.
agree with you. But even what we consider fact today does change. And to answer to you, these scores that you're talking about, somebody still have to grade those points. Somebody still has to say, this
But
this
someone
video
is-
is accurate. Who makes that decision?
but someone does that with your credit score.
Yeah, that's different though.
How does
but
that
but even
different?
that, if you go deep into that, there's
And if
policies behind
If
that.
we're really talking about blockchain, this is a very credible thing. Like anything you post, anything you
at the
do,
surface, credit scores are just numbers, right? So
Right.
yes, that's factual. You can just
well, it's not at the surface; it's just numbers. But under the surface, it's a lot more.
that's where I'm going, and that's what I'm saying. Under the surface, who makes the policy that this credit level is this many points?
I don't know.
calculation.
It's a
not-
calculation, but somebody has to come up with
It's
that
a
number.
new frontier.
Somebody has to say, oh,
Somebody has
if
to come up with the calculation.
exactly, there's a policy
well, the
behind
weighting,
that.
the weighting of each piece of it, right? Like
Right.
someone has to figure
Correct.
out what
Exactly
goes
and,
into-
and that can be biased.
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
yes,
it's a
it
new
can.
frontier.
Yes, it
you would
can.
have to get a group of people. You guys would have to like.
You can.
It would
Like
have
if
to
I'm
be
a
something-
wealthy person and I don't have any debt, I might be like you over there in the in the ghetto. Oh, like this is what's considered bad, or you know what I'm saying? Like you can this. My point is there's bias in a lot of the things that we consider accurate or not accurate, factual and not factual, and I just think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous to try to censor that. I think online should be like society, right? We have bad food, right? We have things that are not good for your health that we do sell. There are things available to the public, right? But it's still legally sold, right? Nobody is saying, "Oh, you can't smoke cigarette," for example. Or,
But okay,
you know what I'm saying?
but the problem is look, the example I want to say was that flat earthers, right? The first example I brought up, there's really no harm. I mean, I don't think, maybe people be dumber, right? But like the vaccine misinformation where people are saying vaccines are bad for the kids, right? Well, that doesn't just affect your kids. That affects the people that are having their children vaccinated. Right? The way vaccines work is you have to work as a community to if you have half the population not vaccinated for measles and half the population that are, it's gonna F over the people that are.
And this is a good example. The problem is you're going to have a group of people that are going to show you their facts of, oh, these are autism kids that were vaccinated, and they're going to come up with their own facts. Like how do you resolve that? Not everybody believe in vaccination. I'm not saying me. I'm just saying you're gonna find people that have reason why they don't want to vaccinate their kids. You're gonna find people that have reason not to have birth in the hospital. That comedian Jim Gaffigan, he has like 7 kids, all home births, because he has this idea like the hospitals are like they're like this, they're like that, they're like that. So they just think
There are a lot of interesting stats about that as a separate topic.
There are people that have better facts than me that will tell you why it's better to have birth at home than in the hospital. So that's what I'm saying. You can't resolve everything.
So, okay,
you
so
just
then-
put
but
everything
once-
out there, and
Can I-
hopefully you teach your kid, oh, this is why you shouldn't buy these food.
So then, Phil, tell me what do you think would be a solution to this?
Leave the flat earther alone. Leave them alone.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like vacciners, right? If this is anti-vaxxers, right? Yeah. If this becomes a problem, right? And right now in Seattle, it's an issue. They have a measles outbreak. Mm-hmm. It's because people don't believe in vaccines, right? And they're not getting these children vaccinated. So now this affects you too, right? You can't just leave them alone if it doesn't affect you.
Put more information out there. There's bad information. There's good information. Fight the bad information with good information. But once you get into censorship, it just goes into it gets dangerous. It's a slippery slope.
But the problem with fighting information is the fact that kind of like what Omar said is that the way that technology is driven is it gives you what you want to see, right?
Okay.
So your Facebook knows if you're a very super liberal, that's the information you're gonna get. If you're a super Republican, hardcore conservative, have all those views, gun rights and all that, right? That's the information you're gonna get, right? Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, then everyone's gonna be right in their own world, right? But the problem is those people that are factually incorrect, right? Factually incorrect, that those anti-vaxxers who are not getting their children vaccinated, it's going to affect all of us, right? That's when the problems or issues arises. Yeah, flat earthers, yeah, leave them alone. Who cares? They're going to try to walk and see if they can find the edge and waste their life. go for it, right? But if you're gonna harm my children, right, because you're not vaccinating your children because of wherever you're getting your information from, right? Then now it becomes our issue, and that's the problem. I mean, look at the election, right? Yeah, we don't know if there's any Russian probing, right? But there are a lot of people who use Facebook accounts to misconstrue people's thoughts and
There's a lot of people who are Russian and mounted a misinformation campaign to distribute that information across Facebook. Actually.
right, and not just Russia, like China is supposed to be really big with that. So like this is a whole new frontier. This is cyber warfare that people don't realize is happening. You know what I mean? And that's why it's like that's why I say maybe censorship is important, right? To be like, hey, this is not right. Like look, example, right? The Marble ad campaign, like the tobacco ad campaigns, right? The ones that were like, oh, it's cool and you know like that targets like teens, right? Well, people realized what was happening, and then the government did something about it, right? Okay, now you can't have they had regulations on how the ads are supposed to be. You can't target this. You can't, you know, blah blah blah. And now it's working, right? Kids they're not targeting kids, and also I think a lot of it has to do with the massive information that's out there. Like you said, just a lot of positive information, right? But we could regulate it, right? We could regulate news cycles or whatever it is, right? I feel like there has to be something that needs to be done. There has to be something that needs to be done.
Once a fact is proven inaccurate, it pretty much becomes an opinion, right? Because you're just misstating something.
If it's proven to be inaccurate and you prove something else, then that
becomes a new fact. Yeah.
No, but
if the proof of the fact is proven to be inaccurate,
right,
then yeah,
then it just becomes a theory.
So then you have to leave it up to the public to decide for themselves if they think it's an opinion or a fact. You can't censor that person because then that's kind of going into like freedom of speech.
And that's where I'm kind of leaning. I agree with that. You can't spoon fed the public.
Yeah.
And what I was gonna what my example earlier is that even in real life, even if you censor online, in real life,
keep talking that way.
In real life, our daily life is not censored like that. We have the freedom to buy whatever we want, eat whatever we want,
but
even though it's universally.
You can't mistake online with real life. It's two different.
No, but it's
platforms.
the same thing. You have something
it's
that's
absolutely not.
It's the same thing. You have something that's bad for the society, to use your own word. That's bad for the society, whether it's online or not online.
Look,
if it's bad for the society, you're saying it should be stopped. It should be censored. Online really is irrelevant. So if you're gonna say that about online, we have to do the same thing about in real life.
Look, I could go up. I can't go up in real life, and if I'm a homophobe, right, and run up to a gay couple and be like, you're a blah blah blah, you know, F word, and but you know, I can't do that. I get that
you can do that.
You can do
right,
that.
but there are rules and laws that prohibits me from doing. I can do it, but then I would have serious consequences, right? If I can go on the internet
that's.
Oh yeah. You can
I mean, you're saying unless someone like has videotaped you and.
Yeah, exactly. Like if the cops got me or whatever, right?
Oh, okay.
But the internet is this area of no laws, no rules, no structure. It's just because it's new, right? This is the new frontier.
No,
right?
there's some rules.
Some rules, but
rules.
there needs to be more. And
Like,
you should be, you of all people should.
No, I'm for the rules. For example, like you can't just post anything on Twitter or Instagram.
But people do.
No,
People
you
do.
can't. They get shut off. Their account gets shut off. Like if you post a beheading video,
Yeah.
your account's gonna get shut off.
They're-
If you're
they're
blatantly
laws,
racist,
okay.
they're gonna be cut off. There's some level of rules.
Are you okay with that on
Laws.
YouTube?
Yeah, obviously, if you like,
Well, that's
If you're-
censorship. That's what that is.
okay, then to that extent, yes.
Yes,
right?
that's
If
censorship.
somebody is obviously being
Because-
racist,
Because the freedom of
then
speech.
their account should be cut off, right?
But it's someone's opinion that racism is bad.
Somebody's opinion is that racism is bad.
Now we're getting real deep.
See, now we're getting into
That's
ethics.
that's
and morality.
universally
Is it? Universally.
yes.
Really?
That racism is bad.
I don't think it's universal.
You don't think so?
You can
No?
ask our
Have
president.
you
I
heard
don't
of
think
the
he
Ku
thinks
Klux
that.
Klan?
Yeah.
What's the percentage of Ku Klux Klan?
I'm not talking about percentages. I'm talking about universal.
That's what I'm saying. Universally. Universally don't mean everybody. Universally means in general.
No,
Nah, it means
I don't
everybody.
know about that. I don't know about that. I
think
think
it
the
means
numbers will.
everyone.
I
probably
believe
spike.
it.
Anyway, that
I believe that even racists know they're wrong. Like I believe that they
No.
Do you remember-
I think they think all of us are wrong.
no. It's like this, right? Like you think a thief know he's committing crime?
Not if you grew
Yeah.
up in that.
Do you remember what happened
Not
100
if you
years
grew up
ago?
in
Yeah, you do.
No.
I think they know that.
They
I
know.
think they know they're committing a crime.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
like
I just don't
or-
think they care. But I don't think
correct.
That's, but I don't think
Correct.
that's the same thing.
I think it is the same.
I don't think it's the same thing.
Okay, I mean,
We're all fighting the same wars.
Believe me,
you know?
I'm racist, and I know.
Watch Black Klansman.
Oh,
yeah?
really? Oh man, now I'm all intrigued. I was gonna say something, but then I forgot.
it's just really hard to censor. It's really hard.
But
Oh,
you
okay,
see what
so-
I'm getting at, though? Like, it's tough on that. I agree with you, by the way. But at some level, we as a society are okay with some decisions about things being censored,
Sure. Mhm.
being made.
Yes, and I agree
Right.
with that.
This is
Yes.
this
That's
is
the only point I'm getting
Yeah,
at.
we can't just overreach.
this is
And I think trying
right.
to take all the flat Earth videos off of YouTube, now you're gonna have to do that with a lot of stuff. You're gonna have to do that with this and this and this and this and this and this. It gets into
my AP government teacher from high school, Miss Schaefer, I believe. My memory serves me.
Yes,
serves me
that's
correct.
right.
Thanks, Omar.
I remember.
She said freedom of speech is everyone's right until they use it to harm others, right? And you could say the same thing with internet. You can use it as a platform to say whatever the hell you want, but once you start harming others, whether that be threatening, specific groups, whether you start, I guess maybe the question is what's the harm with the internet, right? And I think that one of the biggest harms could be this misinformation. The fact that you can go online and get, 200 million people to believe a certain thing, whether deliberately or not, right? And that's this frontier that we have to tackle.
And all I'm saying is, once you start censoring like that, Chris, I feel like it's gonna be chaos.
We've already started censoring, though.
Yeah, to a certain extent, right? But once you start getting into where you're trying to take it, like, oh, this is fake news. Let's censor it. Then
That's still an opinion, though. That's your opinion about where that line is.
no, I'm agreeing. That's
Right?
why I'm saying it's hard.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's hard because for him it's maybe vaccination. Well, so somebody else is gonna be something else.
Right.
How you gonna tell him no? Don't censor that. He's gonna be like, wait a minute, we censor your thing. How come you're not censoring my thing? You see the problem? You're opening a can of.
So
you know,
what
I'm
was
saying
what's
the can
your-
is open.
I think it's
Huh?
worms.
I think the can.
a can of worms.
I think the can is already open.
But this will widen it even more. Like if you start like it's open, but it's not like open like he's trying to open it.
Yes, that's different.
Yeah.
Not tenaciously
Is it
open.
whoop ass or worms? Can of whoop ass or worms?
Yeah. Worms whooping ass.
So
you're
what-
opening a door where
WWA.
it's gonna be hard to control. It's gonna be hard to control.
Then what's your solution to this issue right now?
I think we'll let it play out for a little bit.
Oh my god! So the next election can be swayed, or
Hey, listen, if you-
more measles outbreaks happen. Like at what point? Like what? Like it's like climate change. It's like do we let it out? Let it play? Like at what point do we have to do
No.
something about
The
it?
truth continue to go. The truth continue to work. About climate change, the research continues. It's not. That's not stopping.
Well, let's talk about climate change because there's a lot of people, a lot of misinformation about climate change, right?
So you can't just censor them. You can't just shut them off.
Okay, so then what happens? So we
You
get to a
just- you
point.
just fight factual information with non-factual information. That's all you got to do. So you want to censor people that don't believe in climate change. You just want to shut them off.
I don't, like I said, I don't know about. I don't think that's the answer.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
You can't do that.
But we have to do something though.
Have more information. Have more factual information.
The problem is not that there's not information.
Yeah,
now.
there's
There's
too
I
much
know.
information.
There's a difference between information and propaganda of the information.
No, but that's the issue is that people can't discern what that is, what the actual information is, and what the propaganda of the information is. People will take whatever propaganda of the information is and take it as actual information. You see, that's the issue.
You lost me there.
I don't know if that's the starting. The issue is like nobody actually, even if they see the facts and they know what's going
They're gonna
wrong,
believe whatever.
no, they're not doing anything about it. What are they doing in their daily lives to change that? Like, so what? Like, they're watching documentaries? Everyone knows
Okay,
what's
so
wrong.
but like ignorance
global
or
warming is
just
going
like
on.
or like indifference is different from like believing something else.
Yeah, but
Like
what's the objective of the letting everyone know that it's a problem? You want to slow it down, right? You want to change what effect you're having on the planet. So
it's like if there was some sort of system where it was given a fact, if we could prove factually that climate change was an issue, right? And I mean I can't specifically say it is, but
I don't think it's already proven. It's just people not choosing to believe.
right. So then they're like someone like the president of the United States would have done something about it, right? But he got his information somewhere else where they portray
He
it
didn't
to
get
be
his information somewhere else. He's just being run by money. Even if he believes in it, who knows? Like maybe he does believe in it, but he's just doing it for other reasons to
like because he's old and it won't affect him or something. Like
it's
what?
because
Like,
of his constituents.
yeah.
His
okay, so then,
constituents.
all right,
the
but
people
then
that
those
elected him don't want him to support that stuff,
someone
so-
there doesn't believe it. Then, right? What if it's not the president or whatever? If it's his constituent or whoever they
That's what I'm
represent.
saying. It doesn't matter if they believe it or not. If Donald Trump believes in global warming or climate change, whatever you want to call it,
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter because he's choosing to go with his constituents.
Right. So that means we have to change the minds of a lot of people.
Yeah, but what is even the person that believes in it doing to change that or doing something to reduce climate change?
So you're saying things are going to be the way they are for forever because
No. But I'm saying we shouldn't spend our energy on worrying about like who believes it or not. We should spend our energy on like if you do believe it, do something about it. And
I agree.
you know,
That's the current system, really.
I agree because guess what? You're
What?
not going to convince everybody. You're never going to convince everybody.
Convince them of what?
Anything.
Oh.
We even talk about racism. You're not going to convince everybody. We talk about climate change. If you're trying to convince everybody, it's not going to happen. So if that's what you're trying to reach, it's never going to happen.
we talked about execution that one podcast, remember?
did we?
Yeah. Like more about
Like capital punishment?
no. Like executing on your plan.
Oh,
Sorry. Yeah, that was very
sorry.
left that very
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yes. Gotcha.
Do you remember that? You might have been thinking of the other execution.
No, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
that. Something needs to be done. I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, exactly. Something
You know?
needs to be
But like, yeah, censorship does have a very slippery slope.
It does, and I agree. I agree. And
That's
I-
all.
I-
That's all I'm saying. I'm not explaining well, but that's all I'm saying. It's dangerous.
But so let me ask you this, Phil, because you recently started a new job around with cybersecurity.
Damn.
Mhm.
All of them are business.
Well, I mean,
You
I
want
didn't
the
tell you that.
You want
Is
the
that-
address? Jeez. Goodness.
but
Can
I
we
mean,
keep it generic? Go ahead. Ask your question.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
pretty
Pretty vague.
like you don't see things like that.
Initech. Is
See
it
what?
Initech? You work at Initech?
Information used inappropriately. No,
No. I don't want to go into detail.
okay. Like that's
But
my
dealing.
my big
But
thing.
we're dealing with.
It's like
I'm dealing with companies
okay.
that have certain restrictions in their network.
I see.
So we are hunting for people that break those rules, either
Right.
from the inside
I see.
or
I
from
see.
the outside.
Okay. I see. So, I guess
given
my
away too
biggest
much.
concern is
Huh?
when people.
You've given away too much.
I know.
I know.
Sorry.
Now people know what cybersecurity is. We don't want that.
My biggest concern is if people use information as a weapon, right? Yeah, I mean, it's like spreading rumors, man.
That's always been the case.
It's spreading rumors, but
It's
to
always
a
been the
global level because of what technology has allowed, right?
you know,
It sucks. It would suck if you were that one person in high school where you got some bad rumors spread,
Inf-
right? But now it's to the entire freaking world.
Information always been important. We all seen Game of Thrones. We see how information get,
Formation.
Yeah, you see people
Information.
information. Yeah,
Okay,
you know, you want to start a war, so you infiltrate one person. You tell them, oh, you hear what he
know-
said about your mom. Oh, you heard what he said about your dad. Oh, let's go fight.
You know,
it's
Game of
always
Thrones
They,
is
they
not real,
do that
right?
a lot
You
in
know?
Game of Thrones.
yeah. So that's exactly. So
You know it's not real.
I'm
right?
glad
It's
you
not
guys
real
agree.
history.
I'm glad you guys agree, right? So information, there's always been bad.
It's never been this harmful.
It's never been this harmful.
Technology has
I think
Phil,
amplified.
Well,
You're-
it's
you're
never
thinking
no, it's
way
never
too-
no, no, no,
Point
no.
of
It's
emphasis
never
is
been it's never been this accessible, but it's always been harmful. It's always been part of
But because
pretty
it's-
much every war.
But because it's so accessible now, it's more harmful too.
It's been
Yes.
amplified.
That's what I'm
Technology
saying.
has amplified. a lot of
Technology
things.
definitely amplified.
Yep.
Sure.
It's scary.
It's tenaciously amplified. Marker.
Oh man, that's great.